All right. Looks like we are live. Um, okay. Okay.
Testing.
So, hey everyone, welcome back to the talk. And today we have a really good friend of mine. He's a interesting personality. He has been working in the cybersecurity industry for a long time. So let me introduce Saujan Basnet. He is currently working as a security architect at Macquarie Group. And I'll pass over the mic to you, Saujan. Let me like you can introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Travis. So happy to be here and really honored, especially when you're starting your whole series of podcasting journey and everything. But
It's more like a casual talk, like
yeah,
podcast. You eat too much effort on podcast, so I try to like get together with industry professional once in a week and try to learn from them and
which
share
it's so good
experience.
to which it's so good to connect as well. Like especially once you've moved from the Australian scene to US scene. But again,
Yeah.
not divesting from the topic. Hi everyone, my name's Saujan. I'm currently a security architect or manager at one of the leading financial groups in Australia, Macquarie Group. I've been in cyber security for almost like the whole of my career in some ways or parts. I started off initially as a technical support. I guess a lot of the people would resonate with that. Everyone almost started their career at that point.
Almost
Uh,
all the IT jobs, like
yeah,
if you are not as working as a developer, then you would be starting as a tech support or IT, right?
definitely. And it goes to build up the skills, not just technical skill. In my case, like I find that it helped me develop a lot of soft skills. It helped me learn a lot about the culture of the new country, how to talk to people, how to deal with issues and stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
you are really good, soft spoken. Yeah, I give you that.
thank you. Yeah, so that's how I started my journey. I was in the service desk for almost like 3 4 months, and then although there was a very thin line between service desk to systems engineering or sort of thing in the
Back
company
then,
that
yes.
I worked for. Yeah, um, yeah. So I went on to do engineerings like a lot of deployments, carrying in servers in Lonsdale Street in Melbourne, setting up sites. Doing failovers. I still have like some of the cut marks from server racks.
Ah,
Um,
did you do
which was fun days.
the RJ45? Like
Oh,
we used to do
yes.
it back, like connecting. What do you call the?
Which is really funny because I like we had to, so back in the days, like all your like course materials as well were like so focused on physical networking and all these things, right? Because it was so heavily influenced by CCNA and Cisco course and everything. So you had to know how to patch cables properly,
Yeah,
how to do things properly. But I could never, for the sake of my life, I could never figure out the colors. I don't know if I'm colorblind or
color
not,
coding, right?
but yeah. So I always used to ask help from a very good friend of mine, Amrit. Like he used to help me do the patching and stuff. I was like, yeah, whatever. So yeah,
I
that's what.
I tried to create a formula. I forgot it now, but basically what I did was like create a song out of the colors and created a formula. It worked for some time, but once you stop doing it, you don't
Yeah.
remember it at all.
Yeah, like right now, if you give me a cable and then say patch it, and if your life depends on it, I'll be like, just shoot me. I can't do it. But like
Yeah,
those foundational knowledges are like very important for you to get started and um,
it
build
builds
your knowledge
confidence
on
as well.
those. Yeah. So yeah, that so that's how I started my work, and then I've always been in a managed service provider scenario. Like that's always been my working domain. I worked in an MSP for good 4 5 years before joining my
Nice.
current company. I've been with Macquarie for almost close to 4 years now. I've been doing like uh, like security consultant, architecture, and cyber assurance role. So that's from the work part. I guess we'll go more into that. But also from an education perspective, in like personal life, I was born and raised in Kathmandu, Nepal. I did my high school back in Kathmandu, and at that point, like I was very like how a naive teenager thinks, like I would be a pilot or something, but which is still like
I
in
don't know.
like
I don't know if it's like, now that you mention it, like I've spoken about this with other friends as well, but
yeah, yeah,
everybody like during our
wants to
time,
be.
we're saying back in the days in such a way that we are too old, like we're not that too old, but when we were in high school, almost a lot of people that I talked with, they wanted either to be in astrophysicist,
Oh
or
yeah.
they want to become an aeronautical engineer, or they want to become an astronaut, right?
Yeah, and for that, right? Like I always thought this is something just maybe a Nepalese thing or like a South Asian thing. But then I've had like cousins or like youngsters who are born and raised here, and I've seen
Mm,
spoken with kids here. For some reason, I think everyone fancies like
those jobs,
a
right?
career in avionics and stuff. Maybe because it's not that explode or like it looks very fancy. Um,
Yeah.
Outside. And even now, like cyber also looks fancy or like data or AI.
And
But
it is a fancy role, right? You
yeah,
get to do
yeah,
a lot of good stuff, like interesting, exciting stuff.
yes, you do, and you get to know a lot of things like how things operate and stuff as well. So, which is good. But yeah, so I wanted to be like in aviation particularly, or like to some parts with moving parts like mechanical engineering or something.
Mm.
The funny thing is, the university that I was trying to get into, like I didn't realize that it was the last day of the form submission. And I was too bothered to drive like 30 kilometers away to get the form and then fill it and submit it. So yeah, that's life. Like it's very unpredictable and unknown, right? Like so, my brother-in-law, he was in studying in his Lincoln College, which is
Mm.
affiliated to London Metropolitan, and then yeah, he was studying there. He was like, "Why don't you come and have a chat? Like, look at the courses." And like computer were something that I was always very keen on and very interested on. Like I still remember the days where you had to, steal passwords and then dial in to a dial-up internet, like it was 52 kbps, and then you hear the beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and then you had
CDMA, right?
yeah, CDMA. Like we used to have like we used to take turns actually. So between 5 to 5:30, it would be me. Then it would be like 5:30 to 6, it would be another friend.
One
Yeah.
of my friend,
So
he had an internet as well, and
yeah,
and we used to do the same thing. Like, he was the only friend in our circle who had internet in his house,
yeah,
even if it's too slow. Back then, we used to like be happy by listening to the trailers or short videos. Now you
yeah,
can
yeah.
watch the whole movie on
No,
YouTube.
you can just do whole movie. Like you could download a I don't know like 4K movie in what like good a minute or even less than that if you've got the internet
Yes.
connection. Yeah. So yeah, that's all how it started. I got into like then I went to the college. I did my bachelor's of computer networking honors from Islington College. Like 3 years in there. That sort of put me into because at that point I was not really aware of like what's IT, right? Like everyone's and IT was a trending word back then, like around 2012. Everyone was saying like IT, but then no one actually knew the different facets and different, um, like all the flows of IT. IT what, right? Like IT is a so broad and big term. Like, are you doing development? Are you doing uh, back end, front end within development? Are you doing systems infrastructure? Are you doing cyber? Are you doing policies and stuff? So doing that bachelor's like undergrad degree sort of helped me figure out I guess like what's what like whether I want to do something in multimedia or like videos and or like something in cyber. So something that got me really hooked up into cyber was the ability to um, not hack, like I
Break
don't want to
into
use the
stuff.
word hack. Yeah, break into stuff, right? Like it was a big accomplishment, like when you're downloading, or like even when like when you're using finding the keys of Windows, or like you installing backtrack. I think back then it was called backtrack on your computer,
Yeah.
like changing Wi-Fi password um, of your neighbors, and then doing all those stupid things. But then it was something exciting, and then uh, one good thing was like when you have right, I guess like tutors and circles. they sort of put that curiosity of yours into right track.
Yeah,
Like
you
your
need to have
teachers
good
help you.
teacher.
Yeah, so your
Exactly.
teachers help you do that. And then yeah, so that's when I thought like I would make a career in cyber. So yeah, I started doing that. Although while I was in Nepal, I did work. Like I worked in Islington College itself, doing some business development stuff, and then also taking some very minor like introductory classes and things. And I was also involved in like I was trying to get a startup of my own with a very good elder brother
I
of
didn't
mine,
knew
like
that.
Raj. Yeah, yeah. So we actually like so Nepal at that point didn't have any formal like iOS like development training and stuff. So I went to startup weekend back in 2012. I met lots of great connections, which are like in a really good position right now in Nepalese tech scenarios. Like the guys from Janaki Tech or even F1 Soft. It was not as big as then as it is
I
now.
haven't actually met the person like who runs Janik Tech, but
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about him. Mostly on the WordPress meetup. I used to
Oh
go
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. There
Yeah,
used to be so much of meetups back then, like WordPress, Mozilla Force, I think. Um, but
yeah.
then one
For
thing was like we never had anything catered to security. So yeah, but then I started doing that. So I met with this very good brother, and then we started a company together. But then, as life had its way, my mom was always a big supporter of like getting higher education and stuff. So she was like, "You can come back and do all this, but then you need to get your education sorted out, right? It's not like I'd already done my undergrad back then, so she was like, get your masters done, and then
looking back now, like just sorry this interrupted. Like I initially was a pro advocate of like standard college education,
yeah,
and now that looking back now, do you see like it's a controversial that
yeah,
thing.
it's a very
However,
controversial topic.
it's up to you if you don't want to answer it. How like being vocal is nice. What do you think? Like looking back on retro, do you think like with current state of the industry and tech and
Yeah,
companies recruiting self build self learn self
self-learning and stuff. Yeah.
like so I forgot the word. So like a company now recruit like got do not require like formal degree.
Formal education. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think it was worth it? Like what do you what's your view on that?
See, okay, I'm not going to go into generic and general terms because I mean, I don't really care if I offend people, but
Like,
um,
yeah. These
without like trying to be very diplomatically and
these are
politically
opinions,
correct,
right?
right?
Opinions
Yeah.
are like
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot to give that disclaimer. All these opinions are mine. Like, it's not for my employers or like even my mom and dad's anymore. So it's all my opinion. Yeah. So educational wise, I guess um, if you're a keen soul, right? Like you want to explore things. You're very curious, like trying to figure out how things work, how things are breaking and happening. For that sort of personality, I don't think you always need a formal education. Um, but like again, having said that, not that for someone who wants to be in front of a whiteboard and a tutor you need a formal education. It's not like that. It's all dependent on what you want
mm,
and what's your longer term goal, right? But if I look at myself, I think I would only be content with having an undergrad degree. I
mm,
don't see the point of like spending a lot of money, especially on dollars. Um, but I guess that's the beauty of international student. You have to come here on a visa and then
visa.
get the education. I'm not criticizing Australian education or like UK education or US for that matter, but well, sometimes your personal circumstances and your personal goals, like what you want to do, has to be the directing force of whether you want to pursue a master's degree or like post-grad degree or a PhD or something. Like if you're someone who enjoys academics, why not go for it? But especially in the tech scenarios, right? I've worked with people who've got no formal degrees and they are the brightest and the brilliant mind I've ever worked with. Like they are so good
Mm,
that they they don't like they're not limited by the book knowledge. Like they're trying to break the barrier. They're trying to go outside of what's written in your regular textbook. They don't have even certifications. I know a very good friend of mine, like, who's got no certifications at all. He's got almost 13 to 15 years of experience. And
Dang.
he keeps telling me, right, like, all the experience he's gained is from work. My last CTO, he had no formal education. He used to always, like, in a funny way, like, he and I always used to have this banter, right? So, because I was leading the security side of things for that MSP. He was like, "You've got a degree. I rely on you to tell me more." But then the way it worked, like, was like I used to run past every ideas and every questions and, like, comments, be it um, personal or be it, like, even work wise. I used to always ask him, and I used to rely on him a lot. So yeah, I guess it all depends. But then the other thing is, I guess, for me, and this is my personal belief, universities and higher education should be something that you go to get more networks rather than
Exactly.
the quality
Exactly.
of the education. Like, it should be somewhere you go to get more quality education, sorry, quality networking. Because, I mean, yeah, it's more about how many, or like who you know, rather than um, like, what you know, sort of thing, especially in tech scenarios right now. So one thing I regret about my uni days is I didn't do that much of a networking back then. So I was, because I already had a job, so I was like, I've already got a job, so it's okay. I don't need to network and stuff. But that was just
Yeah,
like, my mindset.
networking is good. Like personally, I used to be pro advocate of formal education before, but now the only thing, like, if you want to have good time and make lifelong friends, go for it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
other than that, knowledge is available everywhere. There's no need to pay like thousands of dollars to just gain the skills.
yeah,
Here, like,
exactly.
Soil has
But
had said something. Let's look into that. I think it's interesting. He mentions a sad reality for international student that one of the best engineer he have ever worked with was working as a butcher before jumping into IT.
see, yeah.
See, like,
And
this
there's
just
so
validates my
many of
point, right?
these, right? Yeah, there's so many of these, like, um, be it like, someone Australian, or someone like immigrants like us, or someone just starting their career. Like, I have a very close friend of mine, or like a younger brother to me, Newton. Like, he has been, like, he just started as a cyber security consultant, I think, in one of the companies based in the US. But before that, he's done all sort of roles, right? But the perseverance and the dedication that goes behind the scene, that's so much unseen.
Yeah,
Like, we just see, like, oh, this guy's got a job now. But the level of hard work he's put in, like, with COVID, like, he used to work in a facility where they used to put COVID diagnosed people.
mm.
So that's a huge risk, right?
Yeah.
So, but
You're putting
the
yourself in the
yeah,
front line.
the constant challenge to sustaining your life, your family, and then also pursue your career on what you want to do, how you want to push yourself through, that's a huge thing. So yeah, um yeah,
I find international students who leave their like comfort of their house and their society, everything, move to a new location. Like, so I asked this question. No, I was asked, sorry, I was asked this question, like, well, what is the biggest achievement that you have ever done in your life? And like, yeah, sure, tech and career is one of the good achievements that we have, but the biggest achievement for myself as well, I think it resonates with all the international students,
yeah,
is moving the comfort of your home, the lap of your family, and moving to completely different, not just city areas, as you move the whole continent. You are moving off the whole
yeah,
continent into a different country, where English is not your primary language, where
language,
you
yeah,
speak, and you have to know how to talk, and also not just like not just knowing how to speak English, is like knowing how to convey your idea is also one of the major
yeah,
challenges international students face, that like I personally struggle to this day as well.
yeah,
However, now I think I have got into that state where at least I can comfortably put my idea around.
Yeah.
so that people
And I think
actually
with time,
take time.
the confidence and the growth also comes, right? So
Exactly.
that's, I think that's something you can get from university, like, or work or somewhere. Like, you don't have to be confined in a certain
Mm.
institution to be able to do that. But
Exactly.
then the part where like higher education institutions help you is probably to, you get that opportunity to go out, like meet people, make new friends, and then culturally, like, you go and, like, for me, all these like Vegemites and all these things were new, right? But then
Right.
Swinburne had this wonderful student club. Every morning they had like breakfast and stuff, so we went there, partly because it was also free. But
Who doesn't like
but
free stuff, right?
yeah, but then you get to see the culture, right? Like, people are talking about footy, people are talking about I don't know, like avon toasty and things like that. So you get to hear all these things, and that literally translated into how um, you get into and how you break into the corporate or like the career in your workforce, right? So sort of moving into that, yeah.
It's nice. Like really, I didn't knew a lot of things about you. I just I I thought like I knew a lot some information, but
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for sharing your like journey and how you were able to reach. You mentioned
Yeah.
about like you spent quite some time on MSP, working as an MSP. I'd like
Yeah.
to ask like how. So personally, I have a good amount of interest in security as well. Like I started my career as a system admin, but that then transitioned to infosec for a year or two. Later got impatient. Like I found out like security was I'm not too, I don't have too much patience to do it. However, um, so now you're working for a big corporate company, right? They have the standards process and everything, like all the guardrails and everything. So
I know where you're trying to go.
yeah, how is the work like, how is cybersecurity as a career like different from like what are the difference that you found working at the MSP and a
Yeah.
corporate environment?
So in an MSP world, right, like everything's sort of for those who don't know and like are still new to these terms, MSP or MSSP is more like a managed service provider or managed security service provider, where in turn, like, these companies look after IT systems and altogether of another company. So you may have ABC MSP looking after five different companies' IT. Those companies may have like one or two internal IT people or none at all, right? So the differences I found was not from MSP to a big corporate. I found between clients and clients and clients, like even when I was in this first MSP, some clients were like too frivolous on spending. They would not want to spend one penny. Even the billing that they had, like a retainer or something, they would be like, where did this call? So what happened in this call? Like, what did you do? Fix your mouse? Fix the printer? What did you do? So we had to put like details of everything, what time you connected to the computer and all these things. Then some of the clients were like so aware of what's going on, maybe because of the compliance, maybe because of um, the awareness of the IT
Mm,
manager or like the leadership team, but they were very focused on what they wanted to do. So I would say it's more dependent on the company to company and clients to clients rather than
mm,
just a comparison,
I
because
see.
a unique perspective in MSP is like
Mm,
you're trying to sell some service, right? And that service is of good quality. Like
yeah.
that's what my take from MSPs are, because both the MSPs I've worked for, they've been known for their quality of work.
Mm,
They've had like so good amount of people and engineers who I've worked with together with, and some of them are still in contact with me.
mm,
So I guess it's more like, and the other good thing is like these companies, we've always tried to help the customer or the
so like
companies that
for
we provide
customer
our
first.
service to, right? Yeah. So like either be running a phishing simulation, or um, either be like simple awareness campaigns and stuff. We've always tried to um, like help them out. But
Mm,
a big difference that I see from a big corporate company to um, a small sized or a mid sized company is like all the roles and all these things are sort of focused on just one or two persons, right? Like in a small company, because you don't have the resources, you don't have the budget, you don't have the um, timing or something. But in a bigger corporation, like the company I work for, they've got teams dedicated for everything. So you've got a team for incident response, you've got a team for architecture, you've got a team that looks after secure by design, that there's a team who looks after just logs and alerts and threats. Then there's a team who's like doing the IAM, UAM role. So
Mm.
there's this whole like layers of task divisions, role divisions, and stuff, and then obviously the CISOs and the leadership team comes at the top, which um, moves forward.
Mm.
But yeah, that's the big thing I say, like um, to summarize would be just the distinction of roles and the
I see.
flexibility of people and
Also,
learning.
like the resource the company can put in on
Yeah.
security as well. Mm.
Oh, that's something I've sort of realized in a very hard way. Like often, what I've seen is like the bigger the company, the lower they want to spend, which is
Well,
very funny,
I
right?
wonder why. Like I wonder why, right?
Yeah, because I still remember we had a big like I can't say obviously for confidentiality and all these things, but we had a big firm. They had like to move all these paper records into DMS, but
Mm.
then they got the DMS, but they would not do a security posture assessment of the DMS.
Yeah.
So, and I guess like the engineer who's doing it can obviously enable certain security ticks and checks and stuff, but still, like it's a good to like look at before and after and fix those things.
And also like I find like working. I haven't actually worked for MSP, but I'm like you and a couple of my other friends. They work for MSPs, and so for consulting or MSPs, you do their job, set it up, and it's a one-off job, right? You set up
At
a
times, yes.
secure architecture design, and that's it. You hand it over, and you move on to the next project.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas working for a company, you are constantly fighting against the like working constantly improving the security
Round the
posture,
clock.
constantly like going on a feedback loop where you keep on auditing your stuff and make sure the company is fortified against any kind of
Yeah,
failure. So I find like at least for security company, like it's good to offload work to external companies or external
yeah,
experts who know their stuff. However, company needs to I find like if a company has its own infosec team, then
yeah.
like kind of it feels like sense of ownership, like okay, I need
True,
to protect my company, right?
true,
However,
true.
in
Like,
MSPs, you like it's a job for me. It's a ticket, Jira ticket I need to work
yeah,
on,
yeah.
and once you mark it as done, you do not care about it, right?
Yeah, bill like 1 hour, get your compliance in,
Yeah,
get the timesheet entry done so that the ops people don't keep chasing you and then you're done.
exactly.
But again, like it's that mindset, right? So for me, I was pretty much doing on call like whenever my colleagues were away, because I was like living my bachelor life then, and like my project coordinator, still a very good friend of mine. Like he used to, without calling me, he used to just put my name as on call, and I used to enjoy doing that because I was learning so much. Like I was
And
one
on
day
call
I
is
was
one of the best way to jumpstart your career. Like,
because one day I was driving from Sydney to from Crow's Nest to Maroubra just to troubleshoot a purple screen of death for the ESXi host. Then the other day I was doing nothing, going to a client site and just carrying out this physical network. I think like transceiver, and then looking at how much network coverage I'm getting. So you get good days, you get bad
yeah,
days, but it's a good thing because I know like this whole conversation we're trying to do is about an international student's guide, right? So I would highly and very, very highly suggest everyone, like as a student or a new starter, if they can, get your career started from an MSP rather
mm,
than, I mean, to get your career started, obviously get whatever job you can. But if you ever get a choice of, like MSP versus a corporate company or an entity, probably go with MSP first, get your you get lots of I know the timesheet challenge and stuff would be there, but you get to learn so much. You get to
Mm.
learn how to work in pressure, how to do timesheets, how to do deliver a project, how to talk to clients. Like I had clients who had the worst of the worst network services to the best of the best. Like they had every
Mm.
tools, like all these next gen firewalls, all these um, fancy all seams and alien world and stuff. Then I
Really
had clients who
expensive
had nothing.
devices, right?
Yeah, yeah. So get like I think MSP sort of helps you to gain a lot of knowledge in a very short span of time.
Mm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, because you are doing a lot of firefighting work, right? It's not
yes,
like project work where you take like 3 or 4 months or like 2 3
yeah,
months
and then
to
deliver.
deploy. Like constant fighting of issues gives you, it's kind of like throwing my like
Because
one of
yeah,
my,
you don't know what's gonna come in, right? Like
yeah,
it's
one
like
one of
getting
my
into the
friends when he was a kid, his father like his father wanted to teach him how to swim, and the
yeah.
thing that he did was just threw him into the river. I don't know, like, sounds bad, really bad. That's not good. However, he did learn to swim. So
Yeah.
um
I just hope that
sometimes,
my father does not say this because I still don't know how to swim.
hopefully same, I don't know as
Yeah,
well.
which is very funny, right? Like I live in an island, and I don't know how to swim.
That's why I left. uh,
Uh,
so like I had a couple of questions, like, so since we want to make sure like uh, we focus this talk around how graduate engineers can get into cybersecurity.
yeah.
So suppose, imagine, like, I asked this to everybody. I just graduated from the uni right now, and
Mhm.
now I'm looking to like expand my careers into infosec or cybersecurity. What, like, okay, let's do certification wise. I know like people don't like certification, I don't like certification as well, but I keep saying it again and again. Certification helps you to get past the HR stage,
Yeah, yeah.
and you like put your resume in front of a actual manager who can review the thing. And if
Mhm.
you are lucky, the like manager would want to at least give you a try and talk with you. So what are the like top 2 3 certification that you would suggest a graduate student to take to jumpstart their career in infosec?
So I guess um, okay. Even before naming out the certifications, right?
Mm.
I would probably say that like when you're getting started, um, you should be like sort of future thinking. Like I don't
Future proof,
exactly remember what's
you
like.
need to
Yeah,
plan
future
for
proof,
the
right? Like
future.
yeah. So one thing that I think I did good in my career was like I was always planning ahead.
Mm.
So
Plan
even when
ahead.
before coming to Australia, like I was in my penultimate semester, I was already looking at the consultancies or the universities and already start listing them. Um, so that helped me, right? And then when you're in your career or like when you're doing your studies, you should not wait for, okay, I'm going to finish in 2024 fall or like something like that. And then that 6 months of gap, I'll do these certifications. Why, right? Like when you're doing your university, you're already in that studying mode. Like you're
Yeah.
already in that, okay, I need to study. I'm in the grinding mode, right? So rather do your certifications then, because that directly goes and helps you in
Mm.
your studies. So my very first job in Australia, I had the privilege of working with one of the kindest and like the best manager. So he told me like kind of he always told me to focus on the like studying material, right? Like then you'll get the certifications automatically.
Yeah.
So I was doing this. I still remember like our uni had this Windows
Exactly. This
virtualization
is
and stuff.
every person that comes
Yeah,
to me asking for advice. I say like, l- do certification just for the sake of showing it.
doing
However,
certifications.
study as if you like study to learn, right? You could just study like dumps present in the internet. There are like
Yeah,
100
yeah.
or 50, 500 question, and you could easily pass with flying colors. But
Oh,
that
easily.
doesn't gauge, like, it doesn't certification, like, now what I feel is certification shows you you have certain, like, you were able to pass the exam.
abilities.
However, it
Yeah.
doesn't gauges your competency or the level of knowledge you
True,
have, right?
true. Unless the certification is something, hands-on, and then like
Mm,
that hands-on has translated into something like concrete.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's what's the point, right? So again, like, but back to your question,
We can actually infer as well, right? We can
yeah,
know when somebody passed the certification using DOMS, or some tutorials, or somebody who actually was interested in the topic and studied
yeah,
by themselves, and the result of that was the certification. So
yeah, yeah,
it is
exactly.
reflected when you ask the questions.
Because right now you've got degrees that are specializing in certain thing. Like
Yeah.
hell, you've got degrees that teaches, I think, masters in artificial intelligence or something, and it's a very recent topic, right? So you've got degrees in masters of cybersecurity and things like that. But when you're studying that, or like bachelors of something, um, do you naming the certifications, right? Get your CCNA done. Like, I wouldn't say do the certification, do it if you want to take the exam. But again, like
Mm,
if you've already studied for it, why not to take the exam? Take the exam, right?
yeah.
But one good thing is, like, before you start studying, or like let's say you want to study, or like you wanna take your exam in, I don't know, like maybe um, July 30th, 2024, and then you started planning today, then book your exam first. Like book your exam on 20th of April. That way it sort of makes you accountable. Otherwise, you just keep going on that infinite loop of, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it today, and that sort of thing.
Procrastination,
And that
right?
happens to me a
it,
lot.
it happens to the best of us. Like,
Yeah.
the other day I had to prepare a slide deck for a conference talk, and I my wife was like, "You procrastinate a
Why are
lot."
you not doing it? Yeah.
Yeah, like,
And that
there's a
comes
thing like
after a
Parkinson's
certain
law or
point.
something like that, which says like
Yeah.
work expands to fill the time allocated to it. So just hit the frog, just do it,
Yeah,
right?
just do it.
We had a quick question from Newton. Let's
Yeah.
see. So what he says is certificates are helpful, and he wanted to ask you like, what's your opinion on about home labs, virtual labs? I feel showing up those on resume seems to be more relevant for the interviewer. That's a really good question, right? Really good question. Do
The,
you get to answer that?
yep. Yes, I am one for it. Like so back when I was working in MSPs, and some of the like clients which I had very good relations with, and they were like about to throw their equipments out. I'd like, rather than trying, let's just like we'll destroy it totally, like delete the data, and then take it myself, right? Like, or pass it on, because we had like labs in our own um, working environment as well, and then you sort of build onto that. I keep telling my friends and my youngest, so like even oldest at times, that go into eBay, get like $30 or $40 used switch, bring it to your house, take your house as your whole network, right? Like, and then start dividing things. Like every house that you see right now has different networks. Like put your cameras in a different network, put your TVs in a different network, then divide it with your, I don't know, guest network, and then put your home, like your
Yeah,
core, like your mobile, your fathers, mothers, wives, husbands, anyone, partners, put that as the core network. So now translate that into a working company's um, environment. You've got the guest VLAN, which is also like guest network or something. Then you've got the equipment, or like AVs and everything. That's
yeah,
your TVs and everything. So home labs actually, if done correctly, helps you simulate the corporate and the working environment. So
exactly.
that one, and then it helps a lot to even have a conversation when you're going for an interview. So I've been in lots of graduate interviews as part of my current role. I've interviewed lots of people, um, like cybersecurity engineers, architects. One very common thing, and which excites, I guess, a lot of technical people, is the ability to talk to people about, hey, you've got this thing running onto your in your house. You've got certain technology. Do you know how to run a, I don't know, like a web server hosting all these new movies or something, or like even sharing resources or something like that, and how did you do that? So having all those, like I know people who are installing PF scenes, getting all this virtual segmentation done, and then they sort of have this conversation in the interview, and then you realize that, okay, this guy, even though he lacks the experience, he
Has
knows
the
what he's
knowledge.
doing. Like, yeah, he's got the knowledge, right? Like you just don't go and install a switch or a firewall or a virtual, like you don't even put Docker instances on your
That's
home.
the
Why do
like
you want to do it?
exactly. So what I look while interviewing is like that hunger for knowledge.
Yeah,
Like that is what sets apart from somebody who just does the work to like work like for that sets apart the person who is interested in learning and can
yeah.
like it also shows they can be trained.
It
um
differentiates a lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
but then again, like it
personally
needs to
home
be
lab.
translated.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, yeah, it needs to be translated, right? Like it does not matter what sort of home lab you've got. It does not matter you've got the Dell, Proline Gen 10 or
Yeah,
something server on your house. It needs to be translated so the person that you're talking to, where be it a meetup or be it a networking event or be it your interview, that person needs to understand what you've done, what you're talking about and stuff. Yeah, but again, like virtual labs and home labs are helpful. But yeah, education is also important at site, right?
mm.
So looking back to the whole first thing is get your like if I just list two or three certifications, get your CCNA. I think CompTIA Security Plus. That's one of the uh, entry level. Probably Network Plus because network and security go side by side. I, for one, did not touch too much into development and programming and stuff, but I think for someone who's trying to get into cyber, having a good grasp of development, I don't know, that may be more of your
Nowadays
forte.
people
Yeah,
expect you to know Python, at least like know
yeah.
Python
So
and Ansible to
at least
script
get
things.
Python. Yeah, so those three, and then after that you can, if you
Explore
do at least these three, like you'll get an idea of okay what I need to do and what I don't, so you can
yeah.
explore from there on.
Same here, like I personally started with security when like with more learn by breaking stuff and try to
Yeah,
fix it. So what I would do was like back when I was more focused on security, I would try to uh hack into a website. Like don't do that. There are legit way to do it using
yeah, don't do that.
platforms like Bugcrowd or HackerOne.
Hacker one,
However,
yeah,
yeah, use WebGoat or something like that to test things out, like protect it and fortify it as like not don't just break it. Learn
yeah,
how to make it better as well,
yeah,
and doing that repeatedly would give you like sense of accomplishment, and also it will kind of shape your thought process on how can I break this thing and how can I fix it,
mhm,
right? And
yeah,
once you start getting into that zone, you would eventually find your
yeah.
pace.
So I guess the other thing I've seen is like there's a curve on your thinking process and your career as well, right? Like people start by um, people, especially in cyber, people get excited about hacking,
Yeah,
right? Like that's the lingo, or everyone gets so excited about. Even my cousins or relatives, like when I talk about, oh, I'm in cyber, they're like, oh, hacker, which is not true. But then it excites people, right? But then breaking something might be easier, but then figuring
fix
out how to secure it and then fixing it, that's also a good challenge.
yeah,
And
exactly.
right now, there's so much of um, careers into that, right? Like, I guess that's one of our
There are
topic
like
we
great
wanted to touch
teams
upon.
like actual career path you could take, like if you want to go into offensive security or if you want to go to defensive.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring was there are really good websites where you could actually read and like get upskilled on. Example would be like think of I, I had a subscription for Pentester Lab and
Mhm.
Hackerbox,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
and that was like I used to do it like some labs every weekend to just for the fun of it when I
yeah.
was interested back in days. But it really gives you helps you build a strong foundation of security.
Mm.
Like
And I guess like it depends on like what sort of security that you're trying to get into, right? Like what's the domain? Because back then when we started, like everything was under IT. Now
yeah,
security itself, it's so big and so vast that it's very hard to navigate at
yeah,
times, especially for a new
exactly.
starter. Even right now, like I sometimes get overwhelmed. Right? I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Like, is what I do exactly called architecture? Is it more like assurance? Is it more like auditor? Is it more like engineer? And I guess like a lot of the people see the same thing, but then it sort of like you sort of get it's your food alarm. Yeah,
Yeah,
but what I'm trying to say is
that
like
is actually my food alarm. Like I forget to eat when I'm working, so I actually have like
see,
five
you need
different
to
alarms.
work that hard. Yeah. So, but yeah, you like having that idea of like what are the careers in cyber? Like you could foray into offensive. You
I
could go
think
into
the thing we
defensive.
are trying to explain now is relates
Yeah.
to the question like comment made by Aju. So
Mhm.
he asked like any thoughts on GRC role and their prospects. Like so
Okay. Yes, let me answer this based
yeah
on what I was saying earlier as well. Because I guess it sort of explains with the domains that you mostly see in cyber, or even if you go and apply for a role or search for a cybersecurity role in I don't know like Indeed or Seek, you'll see broadly these categories, right? Like you'll see pen tester, you'll see architecture, design, something. Then you will see offensive like red teamer or pen tester. Then you'll see sort of like purple teaming, then you'll see GRC. So probably these five would be the highlights, and then you there are obvious other section like IAM, like threat response, CTIR, and stuff. Um, but then once, so every role is important in their own way. For a let's say mid-sized company, you'll be wearing multiple hats. Back in NSPs, like we used to do GRC, we used to do pen testing, we used to do everything. Some of the companies would run, Tenable and then say, oh, we'll run a network scan and give you the report and say, oh, okay, pen testing done. Some of the companies actually do pen testing. Like they go into physical domain, they go into logical and everything. So it's up to you. Like there's a lot of good resources out there, blogs and everything to explain what things are like. Um, but then for GRC in particular, I guess if you are someone who enjoys, like the risk side of things, compliance, governance, I'm not telling the full form, but um, GRC is mostly for you. It does not mean that it does not get technical. Like even in GRC, you get to do lots of fun thing. You get to look at the whole company's posture and then how it aligns to
exactly.
certain industry frameworks, NIST and
Right now
other
we are
things.
going through the SOC 2 audit
Yeah,
and
software audit. So it's
about
not like yeah, a SOC 2 auditor just does not go and check things and mark things off. There are actually technical components inside the SOC 2 type 2,
that
which
needs to be
is
valid.
mostly what security person
And
wants.
then
Like
also
even in
company
IS.
needs to adhere to those as well, like
Yeah,
just
eh,
to like
and there's so much of rules and regulations now, right? Like you go to US, you get all these HIPAAs and then DoD requirements. You've got even the state level requirements. Like New York has got NYDFS. You came to
mm,
Singapore, you've got like MAS, like Singapore Monetary Authority has their own requirement. Come to Australia, you've got the APRA regulations. All the financial
yeah
companies have to comply with APRA regulation. Then you've got ACS, you've got AST, like the Signal Directorate's guidelines on how to secure yourself.
yeah
So you've got so much of
things that yeah
compliance and things to map to. Some companies, the GRC person would also run with everything, like they may be implementing, they may be doing. Some companies, they will have a GRC person who oversees everything, and then there are actually engineers working on it.
mm,
So GRC, I think, and from what I've seen,
mm,
other good thing about GRC is like there's been a very good interest in GRC lately. So to some point, I think GRC was one of the lesser known kid, but right now I think it's gotten into like good um, visibility. Yeah,
like but what do you think about like entry level roles in those kind of stuff? Because like I'm currently working as an SRE, right? um
yeah,
SRE itself is not an entry level job. Like
no,
you would need to build your career into SRE, or like you start as a developer, then jump move towards DevOps and SRE, or you start as a network system engineer and then move towards like SRE. So
mhm,
similar to infosec as well. Like you, I don't think like you obviously you could try to land a job. However, building a career is different, right? Having a job
yeah,
and building a career is different. if you want to think further, as you mentioned, like long term, it's good to have a strong foundation of security, and like actually gets on the nitty gritty details of how you break things, how you protect it. And then once you grow towards, like once you start growing on the role itself, you could look into more compliance and regulatory stuff, right? That is where
Yeah.
like you could map things together. But if you go from top down approach, I find it, for at least for graduate student, my recommendation is to build a strong foundation from the get go. And that is where people will audit, right? Because suppose
Yeah.
if you were to hire a graduate engineer for a security analyst job, you would not assess his skill on setting up maybe compliance
Mm,
report,
mm.
right? You would
Yeah. Yeah.
assess
Yeah.
his skill on whether he can create a bug report, or whether he can reproduce a bug reported by somebody. That
Mhm.
and there are people there within the team who will do the, what do you call,
Yeah.
actual governance stuff.
Implementation or
Yeah,
governance stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's good to build a strong foundation. However, yes, if you want to transition, yeah, like if you are mid career security or infosec enthusiast, then it's a good career field, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, and going back to the whole problem I see in cyber is everyone is too excited about the like the hacker culture, which is, and I don't have a
It's
problem
good,
with
like
that. Like,
it's nice to be
yeah,
known as an hacker,
yeah,
right?
it's just nice to win. But gone are the days, when you're like hiding in a room with the curtains drawn out and you've got your black hoodie on and then typing in a black screen with a green typo. Um,
Yeah,
Everything's important, right? Like you could,
brings
like
back
even
memories.
right now, yeah, even right now, I enjoy like occasionally going into Hack the Box and doing certain labs. I enjoy like reading threat reports. So
Mm,
that's where you get started, right? Like don't let the glam just fool you around because y- sure it's a high paying job like even if you're an architect or a like even a sizer, but if that's not something that you enjoy doing, what's the point of it, right? Like
mm.
20 years down the line you'd be like, oh, I've got money, but um it's very
But what
substantial, like
now?
it's very,
What's
yeah,
next?
but what now? But I'd rather do something that I enjoy doing. And again, like going back to this whole GRC or like career, what to select, that's something I guess you will figure out with time.
Mm,
I would say, like for a new person or a entry level position, especially from an international student's perspective, even I didn't know that back then. There are a lot of graduate roles. Go
mm,
and apply for them, right? Like go and get the graduate roles because at least in my company, like a grad gets a series of rotation, right?
mm.
So they choose their field. At least they choose like, okay, I want to be in tech, cyber, DevOps, something. But then they get to rotate between those cyber teams. Like we've had grads in our team who've rotated from IAM. They do 3 months or 6 months in there, then 6 months in threat
That's
response.
nice.
Yeah, then they do 6 months in another. So you're getting paid, you're getting the exposure, and then at the end of your graduate, you get ideas from what does an IAM do, like what does identity and access management do, right? Like it's not just, oh, here's Pravis, his pass, gets his password reset, or like is it compliant, is it like user
Mm.
access review done or not. It's not just that, it's so bigger than that, right? So you get an idea of like what does a threat incident responder do. Is that person always on the phone looking at the phone and
Oh,
oh, Russia attacked Ukraine,
well,
what to
while
do
you
now?
mention this, I get this feeling like there are two people. Like personally, what I feel is there are two type of role that other people in the company hate. One is cybersecurity engineer,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah,
other one is like I find SRE. Like those two be to be one of the thankless job, because you are constantly trying to like gate against any kind of threat you see, right? And
yeah.
sometimes it is appreciated, like a lot of time it is appreciated, but sometimes it is taken as like, what do you call, pushback,
A
and
roadblocker.
yeah,
Yeah.
not taken
You know
properly.
what cyber hits like, what cyber people hit. So
What?
there's I forgot the meme. There was a meme, the Spider-Man meme, like me, something like that.
Yeah.
there's this thing, right? Like SREs and developers like showing security,
Ooh.
security, showing, yeah, security shows to auditors, and then
Yeah.
auditor shows to someone else. So there's this three eternal loop of fire, I think. Um,
That's so true. Like, who did this? Like, no, not me. Like,
no, not
check
me.
with
Like
check
who
with that.
raised, yeah, who raised this finding? Security, no. Then auditor, yes, something like that. Yeah, but
That's
yes,
really.
yeah, get like yourself into something, graduate roles. Go out, go to events, like join like meetups and stuff. Get free resources done.
Mm,
Yeah, I think that's how you get into things, and then you get a perspective of what's the difference between GRC roles. The
mm.
and then there was a part I think we missed from Arju's question, like prospect, right?
Prospects, yeah.
Prospect is, to me, prospect is something that's very independent to a person. Like cyber was not a term or like a thing back in 2000 or something, right? Even when we started, it was more like infrastructure or something, even SRE, right? The role was always being done. I'm not saying the role was not here. Someone was
The
always
work
doing
is
the
always
job.
being done. It's just
Yeah,
constantly
the
rebranding
titles.
ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. The titles come and go.
Yeah,
Um,
title
AI,
doesn't
like
matter,
right
right?
now, yeah,
It's
like
the kind of like it's what work you do that
yeah,
matters rather than the title.
yeah. Like now, right now, you see prompt engineer, right? Like I didn't hear of that back in
I saw,
university.
I
What's
saw
prompt
somebody's
engineer?
tutorial course on how to use
Yeah, yeah,
ChatGPT. Like,
yeah. So titles come and go. Like as long as you keep yourself updated on the industry, the trend, what's going on, and your interest still lies on the subject, the
mm,
prospect goes away. Like the prospect is always there. So this is something my last manager told me, and it's stuck with me very nicely. That you can keep. It doesn't mean that like you've landed a job. What now? Have you done everything? Like, have you accomplished everything? No, like it's just the start of your career, right? Like we've
yeah.
so much of over glorified, finding a job or like landing something, but it's just start of your career. There's so much of impact to be made. There's so much of life to be touched. So think about that. Prospects are something I would probably, yeah, put very dependent of myself, like how much I enjoy doing my job, how much I enjoy doing something, and how much impact I create. Like I don't have to go and open up my own company.
Mm,
If I'm impacting and if I'm making the world a little bit more secure, I'm fine.
yeah, exactly. Doing the right thing, right?
Yeah, but that's
So,
just like it's a mindset. I think it differs from people to
oh
people.
no,
Like some
that's
enjoy
good,
doing
good mindset, right?
things.
That's
Yeah,
as long as
yeah,
you are doing your best. Like, I don't know where I saw this quote, but doing the best is the best thing that we can do, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so yeah, I think we already are on 57-minute
Oh,
mark. We were
yes,
aiming for 35. However, like,
yeah.
let's do a quick wrap. Like, I have noted down the suggestion that you have, like, really good suggestion, and I'll share it with the network as well. However, let's do a quick rapid fire round where I wanted to ask a couple of things. So it will be
Do I get a
basically
hamper at the end?
no, it's more like rapid fire where you answer actionable actionable
Okay,
work people can follow to like start in security, like get into security. So first of
yep.
all, what are the certs would you suggest, like just the
Okay.
certification?
For free, go with the ISC Square certified in cybersecurity right now. It's a very foundational level. You can get probably spend 1 month and then you can get it. Allocate like $500 for yourself. Then do CompTIA Security Plus, CCNA, and then like I would probably try and look at what other free resources are there. Get yourself subscription of Hack the
I,
Box.
I found the what do you call Teenable, not Teenable, I forgot the company. That's the one that creates C, like EJPT, ECPT, like
Uh, yeah, I forgot what that's
no, I
called.
forgot the company's name. But
Mm.
like they have like really good
Yeah,
hands-on
yeah, yeah.
certification.
They've got
CJPT.
really good ones, and they're like pretty cheap as well.
Yeah, they're not that
Compare
expensive.
compared to, yeah, they're
Yeah.
not that expensive.
Like
Yeah,
CompTIA, these are more regulatory, like CISSP, CI, like CAS,
yeah,
right? I find like if you are really serious, do like go for OSCP. However, it will
yeah,
take long time to prepare
yeah.
for
It
it,
takes a lot of
and
as they say, lots of hard work or something, something.
That their quote is also "I tried harder" or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, something, something. There used
So
to be
you
a
could
big
do
thing on
like
it, like the T-shirt of
EJPT,
that.
like CPT. There they have other good courses. And the
Yeah.
next question is, what are the like good websites do you suggest to upskill yourself on cybersecurity, like actual courses?
Um. Courses. So, I'm trying to think of something that does not punch a big hole on your wallet.
What?
Like I think Sans also offers a lot of free materials and free courses. The problem I find personally with free is like you have to sort of tie everything together yourself. Like something is there, some resources are here
Mm.
scattered everywhere. But again, like if it's free,
Going
then you
on a
can.
structured learning
Yeah,
path is good way if you
that's
don't
good.
know where you are
Yeah,
going.
yeah, yeah.
So
Um, yeah,
Udemy has a
but
cheaper course as well, like good cheaper entry level
yeah, yeah.
courses.
And they keep giving you what do you call it? They keep giving you this free coupons and something. So get connected with right people on LinkedIn and stuff, and then you get like the
Yeah.
free coupons. I probably would have if I log into my personal Udemy, I think I've got like almost 30 or 40 courses that I got for free just using those coupons or something.
Nice.
Uh, yeah. Then like Mike Chappell, I think this is more for like a bit advanced layer, but they do have like good courses on introduction of cybersecurity and stuff.
Mm.
If you go to what's the other one? Like the
Coursera.
my yeah, Coursera.
Yeah.
My colleagues gonna be so pissed off with me when I forgot Coursera. But Coursera has like really, really good resources
Mm.
for free. And also one good thing about Coursera is I think some of the courses you can actually write a letter um, asking
Yeah.
for scholarship or something, and then you
I
get
did it
those.
so much when I was studying undergrad. During my
Yeah,
undergrad, we had this template of a application that we used to
yeah,
share it within our team and
yeah.
apply for a scholarship. It
And
worked. It
right
worked.
now, I think yeah. The other thing is like even hack the boxes and stuff. These companies that actually offer you labs,
Mm.
they've got free tiers of lab, so use them.
So
Even
that
to
was
get to
my
hack the
next
box, you
question.
have to
What are
get them.
the sites where you would recommend people to
Yeah.
do the labs? Well, you
Oh,
already mentioned
go
Hack the
yeah,
Box.
hack the labs. So hack the box, and then there's something called Pentester Lab. I
Interesting
think they
labs.
were
Yeah.
recently bought,
I
and they got
still have the subscription for that. I do it weekly,
yeah,
like once a week. I try to get in, pop some box,
yeah.
and have fun.
And then like Plural Site, or I think Plural Site is now
Pluralsight is
sort of
also good.
a cloud guru as well. So they are good. Um, there's like some other mm, like One Hub, I think. Yeah, Root Me.
LinkedIn Learning. So new
Yeah,
tech in
LinkedIn Learning is a good
LinkedIn
thing.
Learning has also
Yeah,
great
yeah.
a lot of good
Um,
courses. But it
yeah.
just and I
But
don't.
then the other thing I would also put as a resource would be like get to blogs, right? Like listen to blogs
Follow
and stuff.
people.
Yeah, follow people. Read through what's going on, what's trending. Like what other nice like there's a I recently came across this one. I think it's in Spotify, Hacker and the Fade.
Mm.
That was a real good one. I think that was one of the um, refreshing one. I mean, it's been there for some time, but I just recently stumbled upon it. It was, I think, one of the past where like um, the person who runs it is like one of the FBI lead on the case where he was chasing the person
Mm.
who's also on the podcast. It's like Sabu, I think Lulsek. I think yeah, those are the guys, Lulsek and
Lose
the
tech
guy
guys.
from
Yes,
FBI.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Bring
So
back
that's good.
forever.
Yeah,
Nice.
and then Darknet Diaries, I think it goes
Dark
without
and Tide
saying,
is
right? Like
good.
Darknet Diaries
One of
is
my
there.
favorite
It's really
like
good.
podcasts.
Um, and a big shout out to our like fellow Nepalese like Abartan and Nitesh. Like they I think it's very seasonal, but they also came up with like Nepal Got Hacked,
Mm.
which is really good podcast. I enjoyed when it was running. Um, yeah, and then follow news, right? Like for me, I normally try to follow news as well because you never know, especially in cyber, when a geopolitical issue or a like a something fancy turns into cyber risk.
Warfare.
Like yeah, like right now, I don't know, like Iran versus Israel, that's a big thing. Like
Yeah.
Israel versus Palestine or Palestine versus Israel is already there, no matter what side of the ideology you lie on. But then when you're in a cyber role, you have to be aware of what's going on.
Mm.
There's like next generation missiles
And
that's intercepting drones.
also the
um,
recent news of the XE vulnerabilities as well, right?
oh
Uh,
yeah, like
like,
all of the, and with AI, like I don't know if you've seen this or not, but um, someone, because LastPass was breached sometime last year, and then some attackers
no, no,
again
like
tried, like,
is it LastPass or some company? They keep on getting hacked. Like,
yeah, yeah. But then now they've, like, maybe they've upped there, but then there was this deepfake thing done by AI, like where one of the, like, the attacker actually, like, I think, sort of, I don't know if it's the CEO. I think, yeah, they sort of like made a
recent,
defect video or an audio of the CEO and sent a message to the
they call it
employee. But then,
mm,
yeah, that was really good. So yeah, follow, like, news,
trends,
hacker
right?
the hacker news, even, like, I mean, like, the big corporates, all them can be, like, partially partiality there, but like follow them, and then get your news sources in, because you never know. Again, like I said, you never know when an um, news material becomes something that you have to be aware of from cyber perspective. Because when Ukraine and Russia happened last, like, what, almost 2 years now, we had to be very aware of what's going on, because there was talks about Russia doing something with the undersea cable, like the internet cables. um,
Dude, they are actually doing it. I'm not sure who is sponsoring the thing.
yeah,
I recently saw the news. I don't know, like I forgot the name of the location, but some pirates they're attacking the undersea cables. I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
sure who
they're
is
doing
funding
that.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
so
again,
there
it's
are
sort of,
political things, and yeah,
yeah, and that's going to be a big thing, right? Like,
you need to be
people
prepared for it.
went on to yeah, people went on to say that, like, the third world war would probably be a cyber war. Yeah, so,
That could that definitely could be true. I'm also
so
like we need to these are the part of incident response. Sorry, my like this
yeah,
he
Poland.
pollen is messing up with my nose. So like the what do you call incident like these are the part of the incident response that you need to be prepared as a
Yeah,
cybersec individual as well. And it's good to know how, if like suppose somebody in your company gets hacked, like how
yeah,
would you go about protecting them, or how would you go about handling the incident? Like it, you don't have to know hands on, at least have some surface level knowledge
yeah.
would put you in front of a lot of candidates. Just having
So
just general what do you call general,
general knowledge, right? Like,
yeah.
um, the first thing would be, like, knowing your exposure. So
Mm.
if it's my laptop hooked up to my corporate network that's getting breached, and there's something malicious code running on the background, then I would first want to contain, right? Like, there's this whole, I think, vulnerability life cycle. There's
Yeah,
this whole thing about um,
discovery,
how to
containment,
contain, like,
yeah,
discovery, contain, protect,
isolation,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. But then that same cycle sort of also transfer. I mean, there's a life cycle for incident management as well. But yeah, so first you want to contain it, then you sort of, like, you also want to investigate it, so you don't, like, actually take your, the infected device and burn it away. But then you want to see, like, where it has gotten into, whether there's a lateral movement on your network or not. Maybe you're equipped to do that technically or not. You may have to get external help, but then that's something where you'd start.
Mm.
And then also a big thing right now is also, like, mandatory disclosure policies. So Australia's
Mm.
got a mandatory disclosure, right? Like, I think US has got the same. A lot of the big like, even India's got one, I think. So if your company has been affected by a security incident, you have to notify your relevant cyber departments or Ministry of Technology or something. I mean, I'm
Mm.
just saying right now, but there are departments relevant to it, like AST or ACSC. I think ACSC in Australia's case. So you have to notify them. They would probably assess the severity of the situation. Like, for example, when Optus was breached in Australia, like ACSC and a lot of other government agencies got involved.
Mm.
Um, so, like, you need to be notified,
Yeah.
because you may contain the problem, like the incident, you may fix it, but then there also comes this regulatory fine afterwards, right?
Mm.
So yeah, you want to save yourself from that as well. Personal level, on a
Sorry.
very personal level, you want to be aware, you want to be on the lookout, right? Like, you go
Yeah.
to simple things, don't keep sharing your emails outside, like just because you found a free, food voucher or something. Just don't give your emails out. Give a fake email for, like,
Like
who
there are
cares?
sites, right? Temp email,
Yeah, yeah.
temp phone numbers.
Or give your friend's
So
email.
yeah, Narayan, he asked a question. So he
Yeah.
says, "Hi guys, I am from networking background, and if you would like to make, sorry, if I would like to make my career in infosec field, what would be the foundation? My dyslexia, from where I can get to, from where I
From where
can
can I
start."
start to
Oh my
get a
god,
job in
I can't
security?
even read it. From where can I start to get a job in security field without experience?
So,
That's a good
okay.
question. Like for an entry
Yeah.
level person, obviously you won't have experience. So
Yeah. I guess
how would
there's
you
two
start?
part to this question, right? And also very conscious of the time so that we don't bore people to death. Um, if you're from a networking background, that means you're already doing some sort of security. Like, it's not that I've got a big problem when people say like, "Oh, I'm from development background. I've got a background from um, networks, or like I'm from I don't know, like policy or something." At parts, you're already doing what a security person does, or like at parts, I being a security person, I'm already doing what network person does or a development person does. What does a developer do? Like, you're not writing insecure codes, right? You're writing secure codes. So
Mhm.
that's your fundamental. As a networking person, what are you doing? You're doing secure networking, right? Why are you segmenting your networks?
Yeah.
Why are you putting out firewall? What's the whole point of putting firewall? Why
Mm.
don't you allow port 80? Or like, why don't you allow HTTP, right? Like, every networking person knows that. So
Mhm.
you're already doing security. You need to
Something.
stop thinking that you're not doing security. You're already doing security. Now
Oh, so
translate that.
what you're saying is we need to change our mindset that
Yeah, change the
the
narrative.
thing that I'm doing currently, it can be transitioned into security
Yeah,
related works, which is
because
good.
up
Yes,
until the yeah
it's
because
true.
up until the moment you don't think that you're already doing security, if you come for an interview or if you go to a job or a career meetup, you'll always keep telling yourself that, oh, these all people are security, I'm not security. Like, I could go to a pen tester meetup and say like, oh, I'm not in pen testing, I'm just doing architecture, I don't know anything. But then that's not right. Like, I may not know how does a CP hero or something like works, or like how to exploit it on top of my head, but give me some time, I'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
So that figuring out part is what makes the difference. Now,
Mm.
to again, like, I'm not criticizing the question, but first I would probably start with changing the narrative and then
Mm.
putting up a story.
Yeah.
I know it's very like wordy or tacky, but change the narrative. Start highlighting what you've done in networking and translate that to
Which can
security.
be
Like,
translated into security.
it can be easily translated, right? Like, you've I
Segment.
don't know,
Yeah, you
implemented.
already explained about it, like
Yeah, you've
segmentation.
implemented segmentations and stuff. Translate that into security, like why and how
Mm.
you
Okay.
did this, right? Like, you enabled segmentation to enable, I don't know, different layers of network to better protect it. So now this becomes a security story. So they
Yeah.
just change it. Um,
Hmm.
and it's easy. Um, where can I get a job in security field without experience? So, see, Rome was not built in a day, right? Like, everyone starts from nowhere. I had no experience. I started from help desk. I went on to doing system engineering, then security engineering consultant, um, and then like architecture consultant to some extent right now. But the thing is, you need to again like reach out, network with people, um, see what's out in the job market, what's hot, what's kicking, get yourself upskilled, get your certs done if you want to. If you don't want to, write some articles, like publish something on Medium. Like, I'm a big slacker when it comes to putting up articles. Like, I'm so not active in LinkedIn. People keep telling me I need to be active and stuff like that, but that's one of my resolution. Maybe let's say from today, I'll be more active on LinkedIn.
That's
Be active,
good
right?
to share.
Yeah. So, and then you start getting things, because like, if you keep contemplating, then you'll always keep doing the
Stay
same.
contemplating, right? This is a good advice. Like I would also like to add on that. Um, apart, like, do not just rely on your 9 to 5 job to upskill yourself on security. Like if you are
Yeah.
working as a networking person, try to see or try to address problems which can be associated with security in your work, and also in the meantime upskill on your own, like spend some time on upskilling yourself. That is where how you would go, like move forward or stay on top of or sorry, stay like forward of all the people who you are competing with. Because the more time you spend on upskilling yourself, the more better you would be, and eventually your hard work would show up.
Yeah, because just one last thing on that,
Yeah,
because it's not wise to always um, put perspectives from like from outside, thinking like security is too close, because I've seen that happen. Like people think like, oh, security is a bit complex, it's like too opaque and stuff. It's not. It can be translated into plain words. It can be translated from your day-to-day life, like what you're doing, the things that you read from news. Like I used to hate watching news. Like every time my dad used to turn on news or something at 8 p.m. or like 7 p.m. eating dinner, I was like, let's watch something funny, Tom and Jerry or something. But right now, I enjoy it because that translates to your work and the mindset keeps changing. So let's not exacerbate the problem like even more. Um, you could, like um, make small changes in your life and then,
yeah.
like, yeah,
So I think we are already way past our.
we're way
But
past our
we had a
time.
good discussion. Like I,
Yeah,
I'm more than okay with this. We get to learn and know each other, know from each other, and also we got you here sharing your like really awesome experience with the community and everybody. So thank you so much. And before we go, like one final tips for graduate engineer who wants to pursue their career in infosec, like what do you want to say? Like, so the camera, you are on the spotlight, so
like how
what
you
is
put
it?
it in the
Yeah,
spotlight. Yeah.
so what is the your final piece of advice?
um Again, don't get fooled around with whatever you see from people sharing on social medias on what's happening, what's cooking, what's fancy. If I may put something, like I did something or like I celebrated something, and don't let that um, sort of sway you from your path, like whatever you've thought, whatever you want to achieve, because it may all look glammy and then it may all look so good, but then stick with your path, get your search done if you want to, get your knowledge done. Like let's not even say search, get your knowledge up. Have the hunger, like always have that hunger to learn more, to talk to people more. Yeah, keep the hungerness in your life.
Nice. Stay hungry, right?
Yeah,
Hungry for knowledge. You kind of need
and I can still hear your alarm sound after that.
All right. So thank you so much, Saujan, for spending quite some time with us today. I really appreciate your suggestions. We love hearing your story, and thank you so much. Hopefully, we can get back later as well to do more like in detail infosec
Yep,
related. Like we could talk how
definitely.
you
Yeah,
manage incident independently. So yeah, we'll try to organize something. It was nice
definitely.
talking to you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak.
The
Yeah, I think.
opportunity is mine. Like getting to know you and know your
uh,
experience. I'm learning
Yeah,
a
I mean,
lot.
like I was quite,
Learning a lot.
like I was quite hiding away from the, I don't know, like videos and posts and stuff for a long time. But yeah, thank you for bringing me out of the cell. Yeah, and then if anyone wants to reach out, like always feel free to hit me up in LinkedIn.
Yep.
I'm more than happy to talk to people there. Maybe next time we'll talk more about what I do on a daily basis and then
Specifically, right?
incidents and stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
because this was more focused on grads and stuff. So I hope we touched a lot of things. I hope a lot of this information translates and helps you guys in
Yeah.
your real
So
life. Yeah,
what I'll do is I'll share what you mentioned and all of your suggestions. I've taken the note and I'll share it with
yeah,
the community through LinkedIn. And 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 if you have any question, feel free to reach out to him directly or myself. So
yeah.
yeah, thank you so much everybody who attended
Thank you,
and
Pravesh.
yeah, or the talk. So have a good evening, morning. I don't know.
Morning,
I
afternoon. Cool.
okay. So, see you. Bye bye.
Thank you.